Adolf Hitler, fueled by a dangerous ideology, dreamed of conquering Europe. His early military campaigns were shockingly successful. Germany, utilizing a new form of warfare called Blitzkrieg, achieved rapid victories. Poland fell quickly, followed by Denmark, Norway, and France. This early success fueled Nazi propaganda and instilled fear in the hearts of many. Hitler seemed unstoppable. However, Hitler's ambition ultimately proved to be his undoing. The seeds of defeat were sown in the very nature of his conquests. Overreaching, underestimating his enemies, and making crucial strategic errors would ultimately cost Hitler the war. Germany's early victories came at a cost. The rapid expansion left German forces stretched thin across a vast territory. Maintaining control and supply lines became increasingly difficult. Attacking the Soviet Union in 1941 compounded this issue. The vast distances and harsh conditions of the Eastern Front drained German resources. Fighting on multiple fronts against determined enemies proved to be a fatal error. Hitler's invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941, codenamed Operation Barbarossa, was a turning point in the war. The initial German advance was swift, but the Red Army's fierce resistance and the brutal winter took a heavy toll. German troops were ill-equipped for the harsh conditions. Supplies dwindled and casualties mounted. The failure to capture Moscow before winter proved disastrous. The Eastern Front became a meat grinder for both sides. The Soviet Union's vast manpower reserves turned the tide. The Battle of Stalingrad marked a decisive defeat for Germany. While Germany was bogged down in the east, a powerful alliance was forming against it. Great Britain, under Winston Churchill's defiant leadership, refused to surrender. The United States, drawn into the conflict by the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, joined the war with its industrial might and vast resources. These nations, along with others like Canada and Australia, formed a formidable coalition. The Allies pooled their resources and coordinated their efforts, proving to be a superior force in terms of manpower, industrial capacity, and strategic planning. This coordination and combined strength would be crucial in ultimately defeating Germany. Section 5. Fatal Flaws: Hitler's Strategic Missteps. Hitler's leadership, while initially successful, was plagued by significant flaws. His belief in his own strategic genius led to disastrous decisions, often overriding the advice of his experienced generals. The invasion of the Soviet Union, the declaration of war on the United States, and the obsession with holding on to captured territory at all costs were all strategic blunders. Furthermore, Hitler's racist ideology blinded him to the strategic realities of the war. He underestimated the fighting spirit of the Soviet people and the industrial capacity of the United States. His prejudices ultimately clouded his judgment and contributed to his downfall. Section 6 outmatched and outproduced the importance of resources. As the war dragged on, the Allies' advantage in resources became increasingly significant. The United States, in particular, became an industrial powerhouse, churning out ships, tanks, and planes at an astonishing rate. Germany, hampered by Allied bombing raids and facing critical shortages in raw materials, simply could not compete. The disparity in resources extended beyond just equipment. The Allies had access to vast reserves of oil, rubber, and other crucial materials, while Germany's access to these resources dwindled as the war progressed. This imbalance in material and industrial capacity played a crucial role in the Allied victory. Section 7. Defiance in the Darkness: Resistance and Dissent. Hitler's regime maintained an iron grip on Germany, but it was not without its cracks. Resistance movements sprung up in occupied territories and within Germany itself. These brave individuals provided intelligence, sabotaged operations, and offered hope. Internal dissent, often in secrecy, undermined the Nazi war effort. Disillusioned by casualties and atrocities, German citizens grew weary of the war. This opposition, while not enough to topple the regime, weakened Germany from within. Section 8. Turning the Tide: D-Day and the Road to Victory. The tide of the war turned decisively on June 6, 1944, with the D-Day landings in Normandy, France. The largest amphibious invasion in history, D-Day marked the beginning of the liberation of Western Europe. Allied forces established a foothold in France and began pushing eastward. The liberation of Paris, Rome, and other major cities followed. On May 8, 1945, Germany surrendered, marking